I'm just going to come right out and say it. This isn't 2021. Remember back when home buyers, they were lining up and down your street? They were doing everything that they could to buy a home in the market. They were waiving their contingencies, timelines, inspections, all of that, and they were offering up their firstborn to buy your neighbor's place. Well, things have changed. It's 2025, thank goodness. But this market is brutal if you're not prepared. Selling homes all over this county for the last 22 years, I have seen my fair share of market shifts. And I've successfully helped clients like you sell their home in all kinds of markets. So what is it like selling a home right now in 2025? Here are the facts. Homes are sitting longer on the market. Price cuts are happening, and buyers, well, they're picky. Couple 6.5% interest rates with record high price points, buyers expect more. They want perfection. If you are selling a property in 2025 in San Diego, you're going to have to be strategic. And here is the proof. Let's look at this, guys. Even the so-called experts are questioning our market. Facts are more listings, longer days on the market, and price reductions are becoming the norm. If you're thinking of selling, waiting, it could cost you thousands. The time to make your move is right now, but it's only if you do it the right way. So let's break down those 5 biggest mistakes that sellers are making right now and how you can avoid them. Believe it or not, the number one thing that we are seeing is stubborn homeowners getting in their own way with this mindset that their home must be worth what their neighbor got for theirs 2, maybe 3 years ago. And they tell us stuff like their home is nicer and they got the view that the neighbor didn't have. Basically, they're driving that car forward while they're looking in the rearview mirror. You have to start with the most important thing to avoid. Do not overprice your home in this shifting market. Yep, you heard me right. Here in the beginning of spring of 2025, we are in a shifting market. The playing field has been evening out between the buyers and the sellers. Sorry, sellers, you don't have that upper hand that you did a few years back. We're seeing more and more inventory on the market every single day, and homes are sitting on the market longer, meaning that they're going to take longer to sell. And buyers are being extremely picky for a few reasons, and we will get into why that is here in a bit. So you home sellers, you need to listen up. When your home is overpriced, well, it is really simple. It will not get the attention that it needs to sell quickly. Instead, it sits for weeks, forcing price reductions until it meets buyers' expectation of value. Those price reductions will give it a stigma, and we all know how that goes. When you see that one listing sitting on the market, sitting much longer than everything else in the neighborhood, buyers' brains instantly go to, what is wrong with that place? Now, we touched on this with that last item of not overpricing your home. Do not ignore the impact of the current interest rates and how this is going to affect buyer demand for your home. Guys, interest rates, they've been fluctuating. They've been between 6 and 7%. Gone are those days of rates at 3 and 4%. Buyers, they're making every dollar count, which means they're extremely picky. Can you blame them? You would be too if you were buying a home at $1,384,000, which is San Diego County's average sales price for a house as of March 25. Here's the quick math. Guys, at that price, with 20% down, a conventional mortgage at 6.71%, a buyer's payment is around $9,000 a month. So you can see things are a lot different than when you bought your place. Buyers, they're faced with this double whammy, higher prices and higher rates. Many of them are just stretched to afford a home. So we are finding the buyers that we're working with, they do want that home to be perfect. Now, here is the brutal truth, and it is our third mistake to avoid. Do not skip on pre-listing repairs and updates. Buyers aren't just looking for a home, they are looking for the one. So if they are going to go out there and spend $1 million, they don't want to deal with outdated kitchens, worn carpets, or deferred maintenance. Homes that need work are either sitting or they're getting lowball offers. If a home isn't in move-in ready condition or if it has deferred maintenance, buyers, they may just pass on it entirely. And if you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, opt to sell that home with the deferred maintenance, my best advice is to price it accordingly. You know, there is a lot of prep work that goes into listing a home for sale. It's not as easy as just snapping some photos with an iPhone and coming up with a catchy description and then throwing the whole thing in the MLS and hoping the phone rings. No, not any longer. See, over the past 40 years, Dad and I, we've developed a strategy, and it's one that has successfully helped over 1,000 families realize their dream of home ownership. Now, along the way, we discovered that there was this need for a comprehensive guide, a roadmap, if you will, to help you understand each step of the process. And our guide provides you with that need to know info plus insider tips. So if that is something that you're interested, just type guide down in those comments and we'll be sure to send that your way. For us, it's important that you're comfortable and you're confident with this whole process. Our goal is for you to actually have fun with your move. And our guide's going to help answer a lot of those questions you have about how this process works. So just type guide down in the comments and we'll be sure to send that over to you. So let's see. Hold on. Need to grab a quick drink here. Okay, we went over pricing and what buyers are up against these days with the higher rates and prices, making sure that you dial in your repairs and updates prior to going on the market. But there are two other things that we want to go over. The fourth thing to avoid is not having a marketing plan that goes beyond the MLS. With longer days on the market, sellers, they need to go beyond that simple MLS listing. Homes that sell fast in San Diego, they're aided with high quality video tours, social media, and strategic online advertising. Because that is exactly where buyers are right now. They're on their devices. The statistic is that 99% of buyers start their home search online. And when marketed correctly, many buyers can tell if they found a real contender or not, just from the description, the walkthrough tour, and of course the photography. Yep, the marketing needs to speak to that ideal buyer profile for your property. Now, once you do get an offer or possibly offers, here's your word of caution. Do not be too aggressive with contingencies. Yes, up until the offer comes in, you're in the driver's seat. You set the price, you control showings, the marketing, all the stuff. Then in steps that buyer. And because of the way that our California real estate purchase contract is set up, ultimately, your buyer, they can make or break your transaction. At the counteroffer stage, you want to be really strategic in how you respond, how long you take to respond, and what you actually counter with. See, there's this balancing act, and you don't want to be so quick to throw out a crazy counteroffer if a buyer doesn't meet all of your expectations with their initial offer. Sellers who dig in their heels and insist on getting their price, they can ultimately chase away a really great buyer. And I'm talking from experience because unfortunately, we've seen this happen when we work with those stubborn sellers. Sometimes I feel like a referee. No, maybe more like a matchmaker on a dating show, but more often than not, a family counselor, guiding clients through one of the biggest transactions of their lives, reminding them that flexibility is paramount. Coming up with solutions and creating win-win situations, that's what closes deals. Staying laser focused on getting you to your next chapter. Sellers who offer no repair credits or insist on a super fast escrow can sabotage their sale. In this market, buyers have other homes that they can go buy if they feel rushed or pressured. That purchase contract, it gives them the power to move on to another property with a seller who's going to give them more flexibility. We've had issues with buyers getting homeowners insurance, and this is an issue we expect to get worse before it gets better. Now, if you haven't had issues with your homeowner's insurance in the past few years, you're lucky. It's really tough on buyers right now. Another issue our sellers need to be aware of is the sale of condos right now. Many HOAs, they have financial issues. Buyers are extra cautious about reviewing their HOA documents and the reserves. Many HOAs, they're underfunded. They don't have enough cash reserves. With insurance costs rising and special assessments looming, buyers are getting nervous and they can walk away. Yes, we have closed transactions with unhealthy HOAs. Now, it does take a little patience and some negotiations and problem-solving skills. See, when you're in the trenches every day like we are, there's not much that can replace that kind of experience. And that is why we put together a seller guide. Selling a home, making a move, we're talking about life-changing things. You don't want surprises. You want things to go according to plan. Well, as best as possible. So if you do want that guide, like I said, just put guide down in the comments. We'll get it out to you. If you're curious about what items you should really be working on around your home before you put it on the market, what the best cost-effective fix-ups would be, well, you're going to want to watch this video next, where we explain exactly what to do and, probably more importantly, what not to do. Things that are going to give you the best bang for your buck.